6% of it was you, so I apologize. But I'm going to introduce myself. You're going to introduce yourself. I'm then going to say that this is the Standard Sports Weekly Recap. I'm Alec McChesney.
And I'm Wyatt Wheeler. Each week we're going to break down the past week and we're going to break down the week ahead.
We're going to start this week by talking about Missouri State Ice Bears head coach Bob Booker. Booker posted a 15-22 record this season, and then he was fired by his players. Not typical, but since it's a club sport, they're allowed to do a player vote. And he's been there for 5 years, put a really good record up over those 5 seasons. If I was a fan, I would be pretty disappointed with that firing. He's moved the team to Division I. He's helped them to a 113-62 record over the last 5 seasons, and his dedication is unprecedented at the club level.
Seems pretty weird. I thought that he was doing a good job, moved them, did a whole bunch of strides, and now he's gone.
It appears that the players didn't like him. I hate to say that, but it's kind of what it seems. So they had a player vote, and the majority rules. So if the majority rules and they...
It's time to move on to our next topic, as something was just thrown at us.
We're going to go ahead and talk about the Missouri State men's basketball
Speaking of
team.
Coaches getting fired.
We don't need to jump the gun that much, okay? Paul Lusk has done a decent job bringing in new players. Daquan Miller, Alizé Johnson, these kids can play. Why aren't they winning, Wyatt?
I have no idea. They have enough talent to be one of the best teams in the Valley that just can't close out games has been the story all year. They haven't. But whatever happened yesterday in the Northern Iowa game, that last possession, they're just not closing out games.
Why? My question for you is, if they've played in so many close games, don't you learn something from losing close games? They've lost 4 or 5 games by 1 point this season. I think someone said it was 6 games, less than 3 points. Where's the learning curve?
I think the only thing they're learning is that there's runs in basketball, and we learn that every single game.
I just think that there has to be more. So we've seen that.
Oh!
Moving on
to our next topic.
Women's basketball, on the other hand, an absolute surprise this season.
They are on a roll.
They lose 3 of their best players from the season ago, basically come back with only a few players that actually played minutes. They're on a roll. What's going on there?
No idea. There's Liza Freund's carrying the team every week. Lexi Hughes had the player of the week last week.
They're not just beating teams. They're winning by 20 points. So is this something that you can see going forward?
I don't see why not. They're winning this big, going in the Valley Tournament in a couple weeks. And they're as good as anybody right now.
Obviously, they weren't picked to finish in the top 3. But at this point, it seems like they're going to actually have an opportunity to repeat as Valley champions. But more importantly, last week, budget cuts became a big issue. I know that you wrote the story for the Standard, so go ahead, just give the viewers a little something. Just what's going on there? What's the overall goal of the budget cuts?
Well, I think first thing we should notice is that we didn't get anything thrown at us that time as we smoothly transitioned into the next topic. So we're learning here, but $750,000 is what Cliff Smart wants cut out of the budget every year now.
And that's not something that you can just get rid of. That's not, you can't just fire Lusk and all of a sudden $750,000 just disappears.
Well, I guess when you look at that, private money will come in. I guess they saved a whole bunch of money by not paying for this javelin pit for the...
I think that's actually a big concern because a lot of players are voicing their displeasure in the fact that we're not hosting the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament anymore for track and field.
Oh.
Last topic of the day. That was a quick one. We're going to move on to baseball.
Close.
We've just talked about a lot of somewhat disappointing things. So why should people at home be excited for the baseball team?
Well, it's because now we get to talk about Jake Berger and not coaches getting fired or money being taken away from the program.
Okay, Berger has obviously been tabbed as one of the best players in college baseball. Not just the MVC, but the whole country.
MLB.com has him ranked as the #1 third baseman going into the next draft.
2017? Isn't he only a junior this year?
Yep, he can go pro in the first 3 rounds right now he's projected, and they say, for some reason they say his defense is what's holding him back when he's the
Didn't he win the Defensive Player
of the Year?
Is there a chance that he could sweep the awards this year in the Missouri Valley?
Unless he's there. And that's something thrown that might be on the show. Is it the end of the show?
Yeah, that'll do it for this week, and we'll be back next week.
Maybe. We don't know how well this went. We don't know how many of you will watch. But we might be here.
We'll be here. It'll just depend on whether or not you are watching.
We appreciate
That'll do it
if you are still watching.
That'll do it for this episode.
Thank you.